Right livelihood is a very important way to earn a living that does not harm others or oneself. We all have to live and we have to work. We learn to find a job in order to earn and use what we earn for our living and sharing and investing. Generally, these are the three things we do when we earn. We use it for our food, lodging, medicine, clothing, traveling, entertaining, and so forth. And also we share with poor, destitute, or religious persons and places. Also, we want to invest some for the future. And at the same time, we want to save some for our heyday. When we are in trouble, we cannot work anymore, and virtually retired or sick, we need some resource to live. For these 5 purposes, we work, earn, and do a job. And then in defining right livelihood, the Buddha named only 5 types of business that lay people should not engage in. They're very simple. And also there are other things that these are the 5 things that lay people should not engage in. When one becomes a monastic, they have additional things to abstain from as tribe livelihood. As I mentioned yesterday, there is a certain code of discipline for lay people. When they renounce lay life and live a monastic life, they have a higher level of moral code to observe. In addition to these 5, therefore, there are more rules for them to observe with regard to right livelihood. If I have time, I mention few of them later on, but since most of you are lay people, let us spend some time on what you as lay people have to observe and abstain from. And also we must remember, from the time of the Buddha until now, for 2,600 years, global economy changed. Our jobs are changed. Those days, lives were simple. They had simple unethical jobs and ethical jobs. These days, because of technological development, our lifestyle has become sophisticated, jobs are sophisticated, electronic works are there, technical jobs are there, and all these things we have to keep in mind and decide which of them falls into the category of unwholesome jobs and wholesome jobs. Now let us see the basic 5 unwholesome or wrong livelihood listed in Buddhist text. Number 1, dealing with weapon. As you know, weapon either producing or distributing is harmful. No weapon can bring peace, happiness, solace and comfort to people. No weapon. Every bullet, every bomb, every trap, every bombing airplane, every warship brings harm, fear, tension, anxiety, worry to people. And producing them and distributing them is considered, according to Buddha's teaching, unwholesome, wrong livelihood. Now, sometimes it is people learn various type of things through electronic means these days. Computers. And many people perhaps don't know where their skill or their product will end. They don't know. If they know and do it deliberately, then it is wrong livelihood. If they don't know where it will end, they just do the job because they don't have intention to harm someone, and some persons, organizations, or countries or societies, they really don't know. They simply do the job because that is what they learn, that is what is available. But if they use their skill in electronic things, computers and so forth, if they know where it ends and do it deliberately to harm someone, that is wrong livelihood. So dealing with weapon is number 1. It is listed as number 1 because even in the Buddha's time, there were wars. There were wars. The weapons they used those days were not as sophisticated as today. Their weapons were bows and arrows, rocks, maybe. They didn't have guns. They even did not find out gunpowder, let alone bullets and so forth. But they are weapons, and they use them to kill. Very common thing. Then human trafficking, including slavery. Slavery was not something new. It started in the 16th, 17th century. But it was there even in the time of the Buddha. And it was considered to be very unethical, immoral, demeaning, belittling people. They destroy their honor, dignity, integrity, personality. They put down, and their very mean way of treating people. So Buddha knew this very well. And therefore he said that this is unethical profession, unethical livelihood. There are many stories in Buddhist literature where people used slaves through sometimes war, sometimes just as society's structure, social structure. In India, there was a system called caste system. According to that system, it is indefinable caste system. There is no guidelines for caste system. It doesn't depend on economy or political situations, but it is just mere blind belief. Following this blind belief, they established the society dividing into various castes. Lowest were the castes that bore the burden of higher caste people. They were considered to be less than human. Buddha said this is unethical, immoral. And human trafficking is also not something new. It is very common even today. We hear occasionally using vehicles, people illegally transport from one country to another, putting them in goods trucks as merchandise, closed, no air conditions. Many of them die on the way. Somehow they manage to, some of them manage to live, and they are transported to another country and they make money. Good business for them, but it is very inhuman, unethical, immoral, cruel practice, very cruel. So human trafficking is very unethical, a wrong livelihood. Then raising livestock for meat, using animal farms for meat, where there can be hogs, deer, cattle, whatever. People raise to make money by selling their flesh. But if somebody raises a cattle farm to get milk, that is not considered to be wrong livelihood. Because even in the Buddha's time, there were many Buddha's own followers who were holding animal farms to get milk, yogurt, ghee, and so forth, butter, and so forth. And then business in intoxicants, selling and buying and using. Using is not considered to be a job, but selling and buying is a job, livelihood. Intoxicants, the bars, liquor shops, and so forth. Killing animal is, of course, is a very wrong livelihood. As we know, it is one of the precepts in the 5 precepts. Precept number 1 is to abstain from killing. When you raise animals for meat, surely you have to kill them. And therefore it is a wrong livelihood. Why it is wrong? Because it is very cruel, unkind, greedy. You have to have a hatred to kill. Even if you kill animal for sport, you have to have an intention or ill will. People think they can kill laughing as a sport. Still, that is a killing. You cannot kill anyone without hatred in your mind. It is very deeply rooted, unwholesome mental state. As I mentioned in my right speech, right understanding, I said underlying tendency of aversion is hatred. That hatred is there in people's minds when they kill. Also, if they kill not for flesh, not for fun, not as a sport, but they kill for experiments. People have to use various animals in laboratories, in biological labs, in order to experiment the various animals to produce medicine. End product they think is wholesome, healing people, curing various diseases, preventing certain diseases, and so forth. They do a lot of research. For this research, they raise animals and use them. Some people raise them as a job to sell them to research institutes, labs, and that is extremely, very, very cruel way of treating animals. That is also very unethical, immoral, wrong livelihood. There is no one good reason that you can give for killing animals, even for experiments. Now, these are the things that, because of the modern scientific investigations, have discovered and implemented to produce a result. Then business in poison, selling and buying poison. You know that also is a common practice among some enemies. They can be politicians, leaders, community leaders, country leaders, and so forth and so on. There is a history of killing people by poisoning. You hear various stories. Some of them are novels, but there are some are real stories. And therefore, producing poison, selling poison is extremely dangerous and it is harmful. However, there is a kind of poison that people extract to cure certain diseases, even snake poison, bee poison, bee venom. In many places, they extract bee venom by killing bees. But I know one place, one person who extracts bee venom without killing bees. I went to that place, I saw it, and I saw how he does it. Here he raises bees. In his bee farm, there are big bee hives, boxes. At the entrance of the box, at the mouth, little mouth, for the bees to go in, this man put this long, about 18 inches or 2 feet long, about 4 inches wide, glass with wires in it, just like in your windscreen in your vehicles, there is a tiny little wires to make it hot, warm in winter. Similarly, this person has this kind of tiny wires through these glasses and put it is connected to car battery and put it in front of the beehive, the box in front of it. When the bee comes and sits on it, bee finds warmth. The bee's intelligence tells him where there is a bee heat, that is a living being. He stings. When he stings, his width will not be removed from his body. Only the venom stays on the glass. And he goes in and puts his nectar and pollen, put nectar into the comb, and pollen, with pollen he covers the hole and goes back to find more nectar. So he doesn't die. After some time, this man scraped this little tiny venom, settle on the glass, scrape it into a container and put it bottles, and get bee venom. They use this bee venom for making medicine. Sometimes asthma, cancer, and so forth. So producing poison for this purpose in this way with wholesome intention, in a compassionate way, is an alternative to business, poison, what do you call it, this cruel business. People produce poison to kill, but this person produced poison to cure disease without harming bees. So these are the 5 traditional or the method or kind of jobs, livelihoods that are considered to be unethical, immoral. There is another unwholesome livelihood that also is common these days, that is gambling. Gambling, casinos. Why it is harmful? Because that makes you lose every penny you have. I know personally a very rich multi-millionaire. He had all kind of luxurious vehicles. He had BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, Cadillac cars, planes, yachts in various places. He came, I have seen him, I met him. After several years, I asked another monk who knew this person very well. When I happened to see this monk after many years, I asked him, how is so-and-so? Well, it's okay. Last month he came and borrowed $100 from me. I said, no, what? Perhaps you and I are not talking about the same person. He said, no, we talk about the same person. Then what happened? I asked him what happened. He went to Las Vegas. That's all he said. Everything he had, he bet and lost. He had 2 children studying in a university. He could not pay them, so they had to drop out. His wife was babysitting. This man is now begging, going from place to place, meeting his friends and begging them for little money. So gambling is a place where your greed and stupidity join together. Greed and stupidity shake hands in one place, that is casino. One day I had a retreat in Reno. When I went there, 2 people came to meet me at the airport and they asked me, Bhante, have you seen a casino? I said, no. You like to see one? I said, yes. So they took me to casino. On the way, the man had a roll of 25 cents roll. I did not know what it was, this long. He tried to give me that roll. I said, what is it? Quarters, $10 quarters. Why? What is that for? So that you can play. I said, you keep your evil to yourself. I even don't want to touch it. I did not want to take it to my hand. I simply want to see what this marvelous place is. I went there. I think probably you might have visited. I don't have to explain how evil that place is. The place is evil but look like heaven. Exactly look like heaven. I watched about 15 minutes and I saw these people playing. Everyone I watched lost. Everyone. At the quarter they put that what you call slot machine. All of a sudden, whatever you put, you lose it. When you lost, there are very sexy looking girls with a lot of makeup and perfumes and wearing shorts and so forth, come with more money, more quarters. And beer is free, so you get $100 coins and so forth, and you play. And the money, the quarters are shaking. Anytime you think now it may fall into, that is now falling, but it never falls. And all of a sudden you hear a sound of falling coins into a tray. Then you think, oh, somebody is winning. Somebody has won. Even that is not a real thing, that is a recording to deceive you. So many things. I don't know to explain all these things that I saw. Probably might have seen. So that is evil job. That is unethical, immoral, unwholesome, wrong livelihood, where greed and stupidity shake hands. And therefore, that is another. Gamblers never win. Akkaduttu, suraduttu, ittidu chivanu, laddang vinasiti tam parabhavato mukham. Buddha said. Tam parabhavato mukham. That is source for declining, not prosperity. The gambling is the source of declining. Your property you lose, energy you lose, reputation you lose. So these are the 5 main jobs that Buddha has mentioned in under right livelihood. Now, when we consider right livelihood, and the time we work, time we now live in this time and age, things get more complicated than at the time of the Buddha. And that is why these days people say, time is money. Time is money. So if you don't want to waste your time, you think of doing anything to make money because you need money. So we don't learn a way to select our job. Because of this today, because it's a global economy, open market economy, you cannot live in isolation. You have to produce things to market, you have to import and export, you have to sell and buy things in order to live. And therefore this digital economy is more complicated. And it's almost impossible for someone to know the end product, where it goes. What they would do, companies paid by governments, and the governments, it is so complicated that people think twice before they invest their money. They think twice before they deposit their money in a bank. Which bank they should deposit money? What the bank should do with the money they deposit, because it is so complicated. But the key to keep your conscience clean is that you have to understand that you are free from bad intention. It is the intention that makes karma. It is the intention that make your livelihood bad for you, not what you do. For instance, Buddha said, Buddha always encouraged people to think of the way to clean their own conscience when they select a job. There is a story, I'll tell you the story later on. Buddha said, Vanam chindata marukam, vanato jayati bhayam, chetva vanancha vanachanta nibbana hota bhikkhu. He asked bhikkhu, monks don't kill trees, don't cut trees. Don't cut trees. But destroy the undergrowth, that is defilements. This sort of this has a hidden meaning in this sense. Vanam chindata, don't cut down trees. Cut down trees, cut down underbrush. But marukam, not trees. Chetva vanancha vanatancha nibbana hota bhikkhu. Having destroyed these defilements, attain liberation. That means cut down the forest of desire, not real trees. From the forest of desire, fear is arisen. Having cut down both the forest and the underbrush, monks be deforested of desire. Deforested. Now, deforestation is another unethical job. We all know this environment, trees, gives us life. Every big tree produces enough oxygen for 8 people to live. Every big tree produces enough oxygen for 8 people to live. When we cut down these trees, we damage not only the environment, but also deprive people of their oxygen intake. And therefore, we have to be very conscious of the environment. Another thing, when we cut down trees, what we do, we erode soil. We cause flood. We deprive animals of their habitats. You know, in certain countries, animals have no place to live. They are come to villages, cities. I know, for instance, Sri Lanka is a small island. There were thousands of elephants. Now their number is reduced because people expanded their farms and cut down trees, and these animals don't have a place to live. In some places, tigers, lions, bear don't have a place, they come to cities because people have taken their habitat by cutting down trees. So, not only, and there's a big, what do you call, organizations, projects to prevent people from cutting trees in Amazon. Hundreds of acres of land they clear, cutting down these trees. Amazon jungle, I heard, produces 25% of oxygen for the world. So many trees. Amazon is almost as big as entire Europe. And these bloggers from various countries go there and cut down these trees for logging. That's a wrong livelihood. That harms the environment. And some people don't have a place to live. I know a student of mine, she was looking for a good job, good business, for livelihood. Then she found liquor shops, several liquor shops were on sale. She told me the story. And she found it was very profitable business. Then she thought, if I bought this liquor shop, this series of liquor shops, I could make money, but at the same time, I could cause a lot of damage to people. People who are buying liquor from my shops, certainly will, after consuming liquor, they either can become alcoholic or they become sick. I don't have to tell you the danger of alcoholism. I don't know how many of you have been alcoholics. I don't know. If you have been alcoholics, of course, sometimes people come here after recovering, and they tell us the story of how dangerous, how bad they have been. Leave alone cirrhosis, accidents, family quarreling, losing business, losing friends, and costing a lot of money. And there are many projects, government projects, to treat these people, organizations, hospitals, various treatment centers to cure alcoholism. So alcohol selling and buying liquor or any drugs that infatuate people, drug them, lose their senses, kill their neurons. Billions of this entire brain is made up of neurons. And every time one consumes alcohol, that person kills many millions of neurons in their brain. And then slowly and gradually their thinking power becomes very low, poor, and have a lot of mental problems. And therefore that is very long, strong life. So this woman thought, she told me, she thought these are the dangers of selling liquor although I can make money, I don't want to. She backed off. She backed up. I don't want to buy this number of rickshaws. That's a very good. So she selected right livelihood and gave up wrong livelihood, even though she could get money. So I mentioned intention. In the time of the Buddha, there was a woman who had attained the stream entry. One day, she was very young. One day, she saw a hunter. She even did not know perhaps that he was a hunter, but he was handsome, good looking. So she immediately fell in love with this man. Even without telling her parents, she ran away with this man. And they were living together. They had 6, 7 children. But every day, this woman has to clean this man's arrows, bowl, and has to prepare food for him to eat during his hunting period. So she simply did her job, even though her end product was something harmful, wrong, and she did her job. So one day, Buddha's after Buddha morning meditation, he surveys the world to find someone whom he should help. So that particular day, Buddha saw this woman, this man, his children, their children, all were in trouble. Soon they will get into deeper trouble. And therefore Buddha decided to go and help them, especially help this man. So he went and put his footprint in front of his trap. He has trapped, set a trap in a certain place to trap animals. So Buddha went there and left his footprints near his trap. He was not wearing shoes, not wearing slippers. Buddha always walked barefoot, and therefore it is very easy to put a footprint. Then the man came and found no animal in the trap. In the past, he never missed any animal, but today, no animal in the trap. Then he thought, somebody must have stolen my animal. And he found the footprint. And he was looking around and he saw the Buddha. And he took his bow and arrow, aimed at the Buddha. Aimed at the Buddha. As he pulled the arrow, he could not release. He was just frozen. He was frozen. After a while, his wife went to look for him. And wife tried to help him, and she also got stuck. Then children, one by one, all 7 children went to help first the father and the mother, and then elder brother, next brother, and so forth. All of them stuck there. Then Buddha appeared, and Buddha gave them a sermon and explained to them the danger of killing, harming, and danger not only in this life, but in next life. You know, and then finally they all attain the stream entry. Now, killing animal, suppose somebody is doing a butchering, killing, working in a abattoir. And this person, can he meditate? Cannot meditate. He's a hog killer, for instance. When he sits to meditate, not only sitting to meditate, when he goes to bed, going to sleep, he hears the squealing of this pig, moaning, groaning, trying to escape, trying to run away, trying to save, trying to hide. I don't know how many of you have seen animals trying to escape from death by being killed. If he comes to meditation, can he meditate? These are the thoughts bothering him all the time, all the time. He cannot gain any concentration. He cannot meditate. His mind is always in trouble, painful. And therefore it is a wrong livelihood. On the one hand, you hurt the animal, deprive the animal of his privilege to live. Everyone has the right to live. Everyone has the right to live. You deprive of the person, of that person's, that animal's right to live. On the other hand, on your side, then you kill, you are suffering in this very life. No need to talk about what will happen to him or her after life. And therefore, killing, stealing, and so forth are unwholesome. Now, as I mentioned, modern economic system is so much. So Buddha said, when this, in this story, you can find this story in Dhammapada. In this story, that woman who had even attained the stream entry cleaned this man's bows and arrows and prepared his food and so forth. But all the while, she never thought of killing an animal. Her conscience was clear. She was doing her duty. As she is the wife of this man, living together, she had to do her job. She did the job. And who said, Panimiche vanonasa haraya panina visam. Nabana visamanviti natti papang akubbato. In Dhammapada you can see that. The farm without wounds can hold poison safely. Just as without a wound, a poison does not enter. Similarly, evil does not enter, hurt the mind, if the person's mind is innocent, the person is innocent. That means mind is clean, conscience is clean, pure, without any evil intention. This woman's mind was clean. She didn't have evil intention. As I mentioned earlier, it is the intention that makes karma. So sometimes people living in certain area, there is no any other job. No any other job is available. Only job is in a certain factory. That factory produces poisonous gas, poison itself, weapons, bombs. That is the only factory available in that area. No other job available. The factory owner is doing wrong, practicing wrong livelihood, but you have to work under that person, since there is no any other job. But you do the job, your intention is not to kill anyone, any animal. Your intention is just to do the job to get some wage, some pay, money to support yourself and your family. In that case, your conscience is clear, clean, because you don't have intention to kill. However, if one intentionally sacrifices his moral principles, ethical principles, and does not care for end results and do harmful job, select harmful livelihood, that is wrong. So with these friends, there are many more things to say. These are normally lay people's ethics. But the monastic also have higher ethics to observe. For monastic, for instance, for lay people, palm reading, astrology, reading signs, reading symbols, and so forth and so on are normal thing. But the monastics, all these are wrong livelihoods. All these are wrong. And they have more sophisticated, higher codes of discipline, and therefore there are many such rules and regulations for monks to observe. They all considered to be wrong. Even hypocrisy is a wrong livelihood. And pretending to attain enlightenment and earning their livelihood that way is a wrong livelihood, and so forth. So with this, I like to end this talk, and thank you very much for listening. Tomorrow I give a talk on right mindfulness. Right mindfulness. Very easy subject. Okay.